أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all. On my personal name and in the name of Islamic Society of Mauritius and the NGO Shamsaan, I welcome you all here. I will be your moderator for today's program. My name is Bilal Bichu, and inshallah, we will be having from Mauritius interveners, people resource person from Mauritius, as well as from abroad, South Africa, Palestine, and yes, South Africa and Palestine, inshallah, on the agenda of today. We'll be intervening on a series of relevant subjects. To start with, Islamic Society of Mauritius, just to give you a brief background, it is an NGO which was founded back in 1971. Presently, it is active in 4 main fields: social, education, dawah, youth empowerment. It is good to note that the Islamic Society of Mauritius, or the SIM, SIM, Société Islamique de Maurice in French, good to note that it is a apolitical organization. It has no link, be it direct or indirect, to any political organization. It does not work, it does not favor, it does not support any political parties, any politician. However, that does not mean that we don't take stand on political matters. At times, on matters of national concern, on matters of direct importance to the population, to the Muslim community, to a particular community, we need to take a stand, which we do. And for example, tonight, Palestine is one theme, is one subject on which we do take position, we do take stand, we do give out our opinion. Actually, you will agree with me, Palestine as a subject is vast. It encompasses political, geopolitical, humanitarian, and among others. Just for the least, it encompasses these 3 fields. So this is about the Islamic Society of Mauritius. Our co-host, our co-organizers of tonight program as well is the NGO Shamsaan. Shamsaan has come to light. Shamsaan has taken birth out of a South African initiative. Principally, it is involved in financing studies of Palestinian students. It also provides support to Palestinian children who face difficulties, who face some sort of traumatism, and so on and so forth, especially under a military occupation where they are there in Palestine. Equally, it gives support to different initiatives coming from youngsters in Palestine, more particularly to the organization commonly known as Youth of SUMUD, which is based in West Bank, in Hebron. Shamsaan is an Arabic term. It means 2 sons. This is it appears, at first hearing, it appears something quite unrealistic, 2 sons. Actually, the history behind it draws its name from a child named Ahmad. Ahmad actually, in his drawings, he's drawn 2 sons, and these 2 sons stood for himself and his little brother Ali, who was only a baby. Unfortunately, Ali and his parents are no more. They were killed in a bomb which was tossed on their house by military people during some times back. So this is about the 2 organizations, Islamic Society of Mauritius and Shamsaan, the 2 co-hosts of tonight's program. Tonight's program is about the Al-Quds Day. What is Al-Quds Day? Actually, it dates back in history in 1979, coming from an Iranian initiative in 1979. The Al-Quds Day is held internationally on the last Friday of the sacred month of Ramadan. It has, among various objectives, a main objective, a principal objective, is to support Palestinians' resistance, to support them in saying no to the powerful ones, to support them saying no to persecutions, and to support them to say no to domination and to injustice. So this is it about for today. So inshallah, we are going now to run through the agenda of today. And as you know, participants, those who are attending from Mauritius, as well as from abroad, there is a number on which you can already start sending your questions relevant to the subjects of today. You can already save the number, and either through SMS or WhatsApp, you can choose. You start sending your question on this number. Inshallah, we'll be taking them at the end of the intervention of each resource person. As well, I'm addressing myself now to the resource persons. You can as well make it some sort of interactive, okay? You wish to bounce back, you wish to follow up on something which has been said by a previous resource person, please feel free to do it. So inshallah, we shall now start with the agenda of today. And Brother Umar Dauhoo will be the first one to intervene. Brother Umar Dauhoo is from Mauritius. He is in his early 30s. He is the holder of a degree in Arabic language and literature from Kuwait. As profession, he exercises as an educator, and he is the head of Department of Arabic and Islamic Studies in a college in Mauritius. As well, he acts as preacher and khatib, and he is a frequent speaker on geopolitical matters. His subject tonight will be on Palestine, our legacy, whereby he will focus on Palestine from an Islamic perspective. Over to you. The floor is yours, Brother Umar Dauhoo. I invite you to address the audience. Let's join me, everybody, to welcome Brother Umar Dauhoo, please.
Thank you, Brother Bilal, for this fantastic introduction. I think my voice is clear. Your side? Okay. Alhamdulillah. Glory be to Allah. الذي جعل القدس ربيع قلوبنا, who made Al-Quds the spring of our hearts. وأصلي وأسلم على محمد نبينا ورسولنا. I salute and send peace upon our Prophet and Messenger Muhammad. Dear brothers and sisters from Mauritius and from other countries, my salutations to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I would like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the Islamic Society of Mauritius, for allocating me the opportunity to participate in such an important event. I would like to begin this intervention to show my sincere thoughts for the people of Hayy Sheikh al-Jarrah fil Quds al-Sharif in Jerusalem, what they are encountering and facing right now. Our du'as and invocations are with them. You will all agree with me that talking about Al-Quds, Jerusalem, from an Islamic perspective in 10 minutes is quite challenging. But however, I will try to give some milestones that are going to act as a catalyst of reminder for our audience. If we start with the first verse of chapter Al-Isra, chapter 17 of the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, سبحان الذي أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع العليم. Glory be to Allah, who make his servant Muhammad travel at night from Masjid Haram in Mecca to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem, a place that we have blessed its surroundings, so that we can show him our signs. Certainly Allah hears and knows all. So indeed, Ul al-Qiblatain, the first Qibla, is a sacred place where our Prophet received the honor to lead all the prophets behind him in prayer in the night called Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj. So as Muslims, we can never underestimate Al-Quds, where so many prophets before Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived or traveled. Historical facts are crystal clear how the Jews betrayed the trust of their prophets and also killed them treacherously and mercilessly. So what they are claiming today about the temple of Sulaiman is just pure nonsense with unproved information. We can move forward now to mention a well-known tradition of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he said, لا تشد الرحال إلا إلى ثلاثة مساجد المسجد الحرام ومسجدي أنا والمسجد الأقصى. It is not advisable to visit except three masjid. The first one is Masjid al-Haram in Mecca. The second one is Masjid al-Nabawi in Medina. And the third one, Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. So dear brothers and sisters, praying at Masjid al-Aqsa will grant us 500 times more reward. And as the scholar Mujahid had said, لِنُرِيَهُ مِنْ آيَاتِنَا الَّذِي بَارَكْنَا حَوْلَهُ, the verse that we mentioned earlier, a place that is blessed because it has been the home of so many prophets of Allah. Like for example, Dawood, Sulaiman, Isa alayhimus salam. Angels also came here with revelations, and also people will be gathered. The most important thing, on the day of judgment, people will be gathered there. So if we look back at our history, at our golden history, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, the second caliph of Islam, received the key of that blessed city. He personally went there to receive that key. And also, after some centuries, Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, the great conqueror of Islam, freed it from the Crusades. We should continue to motivate our current and future generation the will and the courage to free all the Palestinian lands, because we do not believe in all border or frontier. Palestine is Palestine. Israel is nonsense. There's nothing called Israel, because it is not just an Arab cause. We are talking from Mauritius, just a tiny island in the Indian Ocean. But Palestine is not an Arab cause, a humanist, and above all, an Islamic cause. So at the end, any attempt to normalization, at-tadbir, what we are talking nowadays, this is pure betrayal for Al-Quds, for Jerusalem, and for Masjid al-Aqsa. Some Arab and so-called Islamic countries who normalize relations with Israel should fear God, should fear Allah, as Allah clearly mentioned in chapter Al-Mumtahina, chapter 60, verse 9. إنما ينهاكم الله عن الذين قاتلوكم في الدين وأخرجوكم من دياركم وظاهروا على إخراجكم أن تولوهم ومن يتولهم فأولئك هم الظالمون. To translate this holy verse, certainly Allah forbids you about those who are fighting you in religion and those who kick you out of your houses, and they persisted to kick you out. They are still doing it, that you become friends or to sign contracts with them, like normalization. Those who make allies or partnership with them, they are the oppressors. So, dear brothers and sisters from Mauritius and abroad, this verse clearly mentions that normalization is a crime. Normalization is haram, is not legal in Islam. It implies that also our youngsters must be prepared for a third intifada, a third awakening after the one in the beginning of the 1980s, after the one in the beginning of year 2000, now 2020, we are on the verge of a third intifada, and inshallah, this will be the last, and we will be able to reconquer our rights, our Palestinian lands, inshallah, as it is a war between truth and falsehood. And what we are witnessing now is clearly this type of war. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, clearly said in another tradition, لا تزال عصابة من أمتي يقاتلون على أبواب دمشق وما حوله وعلى أبواب بيت المقدس وما حوله لا يضرهم من خذلهم ظاهرين على الحق إلى أن تقوم الساعة. There will be an army from my ummah, my community, who will fight on the gates of Damascus and its surroundings, and also on the gates of Masjid al-Aqsa and its surroundings in al-Quds. The ones who betray them, will not be able to harm them. They shall remain on the true path till Judgment Day. So courage to all our brothers and sisters now, fighting against injustice, against oppression now in Al-Quds, in Gaza, in Ad-Duffa al-Gharbiyya, in Western Bank, and in Palestine in general. In the end, it is obvious and clear from the mentioned sacred text above that resistance, al-muqawama, is till the end of times. We are preparing the path for Imam Mahdi and Isa alayhi salam, while Israel will be welcoming Dajjal. So this is a war between truth and falsehood. So now I would like to remind the audience of some great fighters for the Palestinian cause, like Izzuddin al-Qassam, Sheikh Ahmad Yassin, Abdul Aziz al-Rantisi, and Muhammad al-Durra, Allah yarhamhum jami'an. As Allah said, reminded us in Surah Al-Ahzab, verse 23, من المؤمنين رجال صدقوا ما عاهدوا الله عليه فمنهم من قضى نحبه ومنهم من ينتظر وما بدلوا تبديلا. Among the believers are men who believed in their contracts with Allah. There is among them who are dead, and among them who are waiting. They have not changed a bit. So let us remember, dear brothers and sisters, this famous sentence from the conqueror Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, when he said, كيف أبتسم أو أنام والأقصى أسير. How can I smile or sleep while Al-Aqsa is imprisoned? So in the past century, if we look from the year 1900, while Sultan Abdul Hamid, while he refused to sell the lands of Palestine to the Zionist founder, and also the heroic role of Al-Ikhwan al-Muslimun, the Muslim Brotherhood movement in Egypt, which at the end was very crucial for the formation of Hamas, Harakatul Muqawama al-Islamiyya in Gaza, in Palestine. I would like to remember Hassan al-Banna, and also the father of our beloved brother Tariq Ramadan, Saeed Ramadan, who played a crucial role in 1948, the year where Israel was created. In that year, he refused, and he talked with the Jordan king at that time to not let Jerusalem be the capital of Israel. So finally, I would like to thank all President Erdogan, whether you agree or disagree with me, or we can agree to disagree on this point, and the chief of the Kuwaiti Parliament, Marzouk Al-Ghanim, for their unflinching support for the Palestinian cause. May I also remember Turkey and Qatar for helping their brothers and sisters in Gaza in various ways, thereby reviving the sense of brotherhood which was present between Al-Muhajirin wal Ansar in the Medinan era. Many thanks also to the late President Muhammad Morsi, Allah yarhamhu, who did not shut the Gaza border with Egypt unlike now the Zionist puppet named as Sisi today. We shall be able to raise our consciousness and create awareness, as Brother Yasser Qous clearly mentioned. Our help and logistic should not remain only through financial means, because this is not just you bombard our brothers and sisters' houses in Gaza or in Western Bank or in Palestine in general, in Al-Quds, and we come to finance again and to build them again. But now the logistic should cater more for diplomatic, political actions, and why not military ones. It is not called terrorism when we are defending our rights, we are defending our sacred rights. Allahumma inna na'udhu bika min fara'ina hadhihi al-umma wa man walahum. Oh Allah, we seek refuge from you, from all the pharaohs of this ummah and all who are allied with them. And at the end, two verses from the Quran, one from chapter 3, verse 200. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, isbiru wa sabiru, show patience and be patient, warabitu, and come together, O my brothers of Fatah and Hamas and other political parties in Palestine, come together. Wattaqullah, fear Allah, la'allakum tuflihun, so that perhaps you may become victorious. And at the end, in Surah 30, Surah Rum, chapter 47, وَكَانَ حَقًّا عَلَيْنَا نَصْرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. It was a duty for us to make the believers successful. This was a bit of my talk for tonight, dear brothers and sisters. Thank you for your attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Jazakallah, Brother Umar Dauhoo. Thank you actually for this very enlightening speech. You've put it like in sort of a religious framework behind it. But alhamdulillah, as I mentioned initially, and as you mentioned as well, actually Palestine is a much larger cause. If you see around the world, for example, the BDS movement, if you see around the world, the BDS movement has garnered support from people of all religious background, people of all ethnicity. Increasingly throughout history, you will note that different personalities, especially personalities who have brought something honorable, who have fought for some noble causes around the world, they have always had a favorable words, a support for the Palestine cause. I just name it like people like Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, the great soul, Mandela from South Africa, Albert Einstein, Fidel Castro, Malcolm X, and so on. I can just keep on quoting like this. Just to tell you that the Palestinian cause, of course, as Muslims, as those who believe in Islam, we feel concerned by it, we should be concerned by it, but equally, it is a humanitarian cause. Just like slavery, you can't say that slavery is the problem of the Black people, problem of the African people only. Slavery is now a global concern. What was slavery in the past, everyone around the globe is concerned by it now. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah, Brother Umar. So inshallah, we shall now proceed. Brother Umar has given us a sort of a religious framework around the Palestinian issue. Inshallah, now we will be hearing brothers who are experiencing the Palestine issue every day, every night, every minute, every second. We'll hear now from Brother Sami Hureini. Who is Brother Sami Hureini? Just to give you a brief background, he is a Palestinian law student, but that's not all. The most important one, Brother Hureini is presently on bail. He's been released on bail, so that each Friday he's got to report to the police station. He's got to report to the police station inside the Israeli settlement from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. on a Friday from 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. You can understand the implication in terms of the Friday Salat. He is prohibited presently from participating, organizing, or being present in any demonstration. And any violation of these conditions, he will be jailed again, and his family will be forced to to pay some 5,000 shekels. He is a member of the youth of SUMUD. The youth of SUMUD, just to give you a brief background, it is an organization which was formed in 2017 in the South Hebron Hills in response to ongoing aggression against farmers, families, and school children, which was ongoing there by soldiers. As members of the youth of SUMUD, he has undertaken, along with other brothers, to revive the village named Sorora. This village was abandoned in the 80s because of violence taking place there. I won't continue any further now. I prefer yield the floor to Brother Sami Hureini, who will now be explaining to us his experience. He will be intervening on relevant topics of concern to us tonight. Brother Sami, the floor is yours. Please, I invite you to address the audience.
Hi everyone, hi. مساء الخير والسلام عليكم من فلسطين. Today I'm very happy to be with you guys here in the meeting, in the webinar with the Islamic community in Mauritius. And thanks also for Nadia Meer from Shamsaan for giving me the chance to participate and be with you here tonight. Really, before I start in the Jerusalem Day, I really want to greet our people right now, right this moment in Sheikh Jarrah, and what they are facing from evicting from their homes. Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood is under big threat of eviction, taking Palestinians out from their homes and making the settlers living inside the Palestinian houses there. It's a completely and a big crime right now happening in Jerusalem, in Hay Sheikh Jarrah. We are also very, very sad at this moment that we are, because of the wall in the West Bank, we can't reach Jerusalem to give solidarity in the demonstration that's going on over there. And we may celebrate next, we hope, inshallah, next year we celebrate Al-Quds Day and Jerusalem will be free. Briefly, I want to again introduce myself. I am Sami. I am from a village called Al-Twani from the South Hebron Hills. The South Hebron Hills is considered Area C after Oslo agreement. The Palestinian area in West Bank was divided to Area A and B and C. Area A under the Palestinian Authority, Area B under the Israeli and Palestinian Authority control, and Area C is under the full Israeli military occupation control. So every day Palestinians especially facing many crimes, from killing, from arrest, from home demolishing. This is like how is the daily life look in all Palestine, in West Bank and in Gaza and also in 48. This is the occupation policy, because the main policy of the occupation is really to confiscate the land and steal more land and really surround all the Palestinian in Area A in all small cantonat containers, like really to be the cities that will be like a prison. As our work, like really on all the during all the Palestinian cause history, the Palestinians really did a great work in struggle in resisting the occupation. But really, the Palestinians need the support, the solidarity from all the international community abroad. Many crimes going on every day against the Palestinian. I say this again: from killing, from bombing, from demolishing homes, from eviction. It's all war crime, you know. And it's happening under a really big, like the international community, under a big international community silence. And this is like really unacceptable at all. There must be a border for all of this violation of the human rights that is happening here on this land. And we believe, that we will never stop the struggle, and one day this land will be free, and this conflict will end. And I want to start again about ourselves as a youth group and youth initiative, and what is our role in all what is going on here. Like I want to start here really again from the beginning of the village of Sarora, that was evicted Palestinian village by the occupation harassment and by the occupation settler. The goal of the eviction is to steal the land. Our initiative is to go back inside this village, to live inside it again, to work this village, to plant it, to do all the activities as a youth guys, to live inside it again, and really to encourage the Palestinians who were obliged to leave this land to come back again to their land and to live inside it, to protect it from the occupation. Really, and this is what is the one of the activities as a youth initiative where we started our group, and we are going on with our activities from organizing demonstration, from really documenting the violation of the human rights that's happening on, accompanying the children who are attacked by the settlers and to the schools. And many other activities that's about like really protecting the land, the main goal, and really stop the settlement expanding on the Palestinian land, especially in the West Bank. And so the occupation for our activism is really targeting us very hardly, from prison, from threatening, from attacking, from like using very high level of violence, and so on. I want like really briefly to go just in the South Hebron Hills what recently is happening. Really, our area is under big threat of eviction, and all the part will be annexated of all the South Hebron Hills to 48, or what's called Israel today. This is the main goal of my area, and to evict all the Palestinians outside of there. So they consider it as a firing zone area, like it's where the Israeli military occupation train, and really they target the area where where the villages are and where the Palestinians are living. Really, the main goal, as I said before, to evict the Palestinian. Our existence there is a big struggle every day with the shooting, with everything, is in order that they are using this way to oblige us to leave our land over there. But this is like they dream about that. But recently what happened is in the beginning of this new year, the Israeli occupation soldiers shot my friend in my next village called Arrakiz, that's very near to my village of Tuani. Shot him, and he got paralyzed, and he is in the hospital. They shot him while he was defending his home and protecting his properties from being confiscated by the Israeli occupation. Haron right now, my friend, is in the hospital, paralyzed, in a very bad situation as a result of the crime that happened in the beginning of the new year. It was like in the 1st of January 2021, this crime that happened. And immediately after that, me and the other activists in the area started to organize the demonstrations against the crime that happened. And, after 2 demonstrations, the Israeli occupation soldiers invaded my house after the midnight and kidnapped me. And I was for some days in jail, and I was free with I was 1 week in jail and was very free with very hard condition in order to prevent my activism and my participating in any demonstration. I was really, after I was free for 1 month and a half, continue to be detained every Friday from the main reason to prevent me from participating in any demonstrations and so on. I'm in the end of this month, on the 31, I am facing a trial on the illegal occupation military courts in Ofar. I don't know what will be the result of this court, but for sure the main goal, it will be in the end, the result is somehow to control my work and my voluntary and my activism with my group of youth of SUMUD. This is like really very quickly and shortly, because of the time. I don't want to pass to go on the time of my other brothers. We have a lot of links that I share, and some photos. I'm happy that if we can share it by the screen sharing right now. If anyone want to know and to read more and to support in all the work that's going on, we would be really happy that people can give solidarity and read and support, and really the support for the Palestinian cause is really needed, and everyone really should continue to take a step, even as you said, guys, before. You can mention about the BDS and about all of the movement around the world, that even everyone can do it from his home to support the Palestinian cause. Sorry, I think there is about the PowerPoint. If some of you guys can start to show it, or I can, or it's already playing and I'm not seeing it. Okay, I will, in order to occupy the time, I will we will share the PowerPoint, and the other links very soon, because, and I think I can give the space of the other guys to speak, and in order to give time for everyone, first of all. But really, it's very important. Again, guys, thanks you for organizing this event. And really, again, I'm very happy to be part in this event. And I hope that really the support will continue bigger and bigger for the Palestinian cause, to put really together and for all this violation that is happening here on the ground. And as well, to support my case, there is also a petition. We will share the link here very soon. Everyone can sign on it, and there's a video also. You can share it, and support Sami, and support also all the struggle and all the cause of the Palestinian cause in general. And thank you again. Assalamu alaikum, and inshallah we will see you very soon here in Palestine. And Ramadan Kareem, وكل عام وانتم بخير, because the Eid is very close. ومع السلامة.
Wa alaikum assalam. Jazakallah, brother Sami, for this very interesting speech. Actually, it is really painful to hear, and to hear from you, who has witnessed all the things you've been talking on, and actually the experience you've been going through as a member of the SUMUD organization, as well as in your actions each and every day in favor of the Palestinian brothers and sisters, as well as the Palestinian children. Already, while you were talking, there were questions which were coming up on the subject of your intervention. But inshallah, we will take them all at the end of when all those persons have intervened. Okay, the next person, the next brother to be here, to be intervening, is Brother Yasser Qous. Brother Yasser Qous is from Jerusalem. He's an activist, he's an ex-prisoner, and as well, he's a leader in the African community in Jerusalem's old city. Presently, he is completing, in terms of studies, he's reading for a PhD. I prefer now to pass on the floor to Brother Yasser Qous, who will be speaking. I prefer to give him the floor. He will be speaking on his topic, and inshallah, he will enlighten us on his topic today. Brother Qous, the floor is yours. Please proceed.
Thank you so much for this invitation. Thank you, and thank all the organizers for this invitation. As you mentioned, now I'm staying in Paris because in order to continue my study, but originally I'm from Jerusalem, and when I say Jerusalem, I mean Jerusalem, because without dividing Jerusalem into east and west, because it's much more a political signification that the Israelis all the time trying to use it in order to show that there are differences between East and West Jerusalem. For me, as a Palestinian, that he had been grown up in Jerusalem, have been born and grown up in Jerusalem. For me, Jerusalem is unified. So for me, there is one Jerusalem, and it's the capital of all the Palestinians. And there is, and the direction, it's east or west. It had been started by the Nakba in 48. And the division started from that. There is a part of Jerusalem that it had been colonized in 48, and there is another part of Jerusalem that it had been occupied in 1967. So we have different, what we can call it, politics that it have been implemented in Palestine. during all the history of the struggle between us and the Israelis. So some of the lands, which means the 48 and part of Jerusalem, it had been colonized in 48, and the other had been occupied in 1967. So for me, it's much more, I will try to talk about different terms, because when we call Jerusalem Days, I think we have to use Al-Quds Day. And it's better to have Al-Quds Day because within the same period now the Israelis they are claiming that there is what they call it the Jerusalem Day, and every year they are trying to organize and to bring all the settlers from all over the West Bank and Jerusalem and Palestine 48, the colonized part of Palestine, in order to demonstrate in the street of Jerusalem towards the what they call it the Wailing Wall, crossing all the way from Damascus Gate to the wall to the Wailing Wall, which means splitting the city into half, because this is the main way to Al-Aqsa Mosque also. So the people that they are living in Jerusalem during this, what they call it Jerusalem Day or the Flag Day, they forbidden Palestinians in order to go out, and it's now Ramadan. You can imagine that most of the people they are trying to reach out to Al-Aqsa Mosque, so they will try to put borders and forbidden people in order to access to the old city. So this is one of the strategies that the Israelis they were trying to show. It's for me, it's a show up. It's a show up of power, that who is in control of Jerusalem, and this is a political message that the Israelis they wanted to declare that Jerusalem is part of their state, and this is not true, because all the time we are struggling, and all the time wherever they have this kind of demonstration, there are in the other side there are Palestinian demonstration that reclaim that Jerusalem is ours, and we will continue on defeating this our existence in this city. So for me, the significant using Jerusalem Day, I think that we have to be more accurate to use Al-Quds Day, because this is the Arabic name of Al-Quds, and we don't want to go with the Israeli propaganda that they are trying to market that Jerusalem Day, which is belong to them. This is my first intervention. In order to understand what is happening in the old city or in Jerusalem, or not just only in Jerusalem and on all Palestine, we can put it in this topics. There are two authorities that they are in conflict. One of these authority, it's the Popular Palestinian Authority, that which is rooted with the people, which is rooted with our goals, which is rooted with our rights. And on the other hand, there is the authority of the occupier or the colonizer. And we have to say that the Israelis, they are a colonized state. They will never get the recognition that they are a real normal state. Although there are some of the people that they have been normalizing the relationship with the Israelis, but it doesn't mean that we will recognize that this state is a normal state. Israel, it will be all the time, in all places, a colonizer state. So, as I said, there are all the time this conflict between these two authorities, which is the Palestinians Popular Authority and the Israeli Popular. And what happened in Jerusalem, it shows much more about this conflict between both authorities. So we are talking about Damascus Gate or Bab al-Amud. The battle in Bab al-Amud, it wasn't the first battle that it happened. It's in our perspective as a Palestinian, we are defending the public sphere and the right in order to organize or to sit at the stairs of Jerusalem of Damascus Gate. It's our right. And the other side, the Israeli, they wanted to confiscate this right from us, and they want to implement their new roles, new politics, that Jerusalem or that Damascus Gate, you don't have the right in order to sit there. So this conflict between the both authorities, it had been before in order to identify what is the meaning of a public sphere. For the Israelis or for the colonizers, they want to redefine what is the meaning of the public sphere and where we should gather or where we shouldn't gather. So if you try to organize something in one of the halls or something like that, like something like this, sometimes they will accept it. Neither now it's much more complicated with organizing Palestinian activities in different what we call it closed halls. But also they want to confiscate our right in order to demonstrate on the street, because this is what we as popular movement or popular Palestinian residents, we want to do it, is to be visible in the street, to be visible that Jerusalem is a capital of Palestine, and we have the right in order to mobilize and to do activities in the public sphere. This is what the Israelis nowadays, they are trying to confiscate from us, and trying to put a lot of what we consider it obstacles, and trying to get much more laws based on what we call it the security, what they call it the security. For security reasons, we are not giving permission for these people to organize or to gather or something like this. Though we as a popular movement, we don't ask for permission from the Israelis in order to be gathered at the Damascus Gate. And the battle that it happened before two weeks at Damascus Gate, it had been in this what we can consider in this category. And now what is happening in the Sheikh Jarrah, it's a new Nakba. What we consider a new Nakba, that there are families that they have been in trials for more than 5 years now till now, and all the time the Israelis, they want to justification that these lands belong to them, though they get all the documents that it shows that they are the proprietors of these houses and something like this. But the plan nowadays in Jerusalem is to create what we call it the 5 circles. The 5 circles, it's creating a closed circle surrounding from the beginning, from the Dome of the Rock. So the planning is to buy or to confiscate much more houses in the surrounding Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and after that surrounding the old city, and after that surrounding the villages and the neighborhoods such as Shu'afat and other, and at the end surrounding the borders between the West Bank and Jerusalem. So they are trying to create 5 circles in order to 5 circles of colonies. We are talking about trying to close the circle of colonies by getting much more houses and by creating colonies in different places. And the people that they are within these colonies, they will be isolated from other people that they are living outside these colonies. So this is the plan, and it have been shown by the what we call it the municipality planning, what we call it 2013. It was in the name of 2013, and they want to implement it in the ground by dividing all the areas, the Palestinian, which are considered as a crowded area, and try to divide it in order to control it. So they will start from from surrounding Al-Aqsa Mosque till they will reach the borders with the West Bank. So this is what I can say, or my intervention about what is really happening in Jerusalem. And thank you a lot.
Thank you, Brother Yasser. It's always interesting, actually. We've been reading, I think the audience will agree with me, that we've been reading what is happening in Palestine. We've been seeing in news what is happening in Palestine, but it's never equal to hearing directly from the mouth of someone who is experiencing it on a day-to-day basis, who is experiencing it, who is going through all the traumatic experiences which this entails, this occupation entails. And definitely it is interesting again to hear directly from you. And I can say that there are questions already which have been coming, and we shall keep them at the end. Now, inshallah, we will proceed with the next item on the agenda. We have our sister here to talk to us, Sister Janna Tamimi, also known as Janna Jihad. She is quite unique tonight in this program because, first of all, of her age. She is what is legally known as a minor. She is only 15 years old. Since 2016, she's been acting as an ambassador of Shamsaan, the co-host of this program tonight. What makes her as well unique, maybe even around the globe, around the world, is that at the age of 12, she was already a journalist. Her writings have focused on daily lives of Palestinian children and military occupation. I yield the floor to you, Sister Janna. Please proceed. We will be glad to hear from you. Please.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Janna. I'm speaking to you here from the village of Nabi Saleh in the West Bank in occupied Palestine. I'm very happy and I am very honored to have been given the opportunity to talk about what's going on here in my country, Palestine, because there has been so many things going on right now with the Israeli occupation, with the pandemic. You know, the whole world has been suffering from a global pandemic. Unfortunately, COVID-19, a lot of people have been dying, a lot of people have been sick. And here in Palestine, we have been also suffering from that. And on top of being in a global pandemic, which by itself is extremely difficult for us and for the whole entire world. We have been living under the Israeli occupation, the Israeli military occupation for so many decades now. And the Israeli occupation have even, taken advantage of how hard the situation is here in Palestine with COVID to put more pressure on us as Palestinians and to violate more of our rights, to do so many disgusting and inhuman things to us in this time. A lot of things have been happening. A lot of Israeli raids have been happening. A lot of arrests, killings, injuries for Palestinian children, for Palestinian women, for Palestinian elderly people. A lot of houses have been demolished. A lot of people have been kicked out of their houses. And have become homeless because of this occupation. And even recently, they have been doing so many things to us Palestinians. I believe you guys have heard about what's going on in Jerusalem. There have been a lot going on in Jerusalem this month, in this holy month, Ramadan. You might have heard about what was going on like in Bab al-Amud, which is Damascus Gate. Palestinian people were just trying to defend their land, to defend their right to be in their land, and Israeli occupation forces kept targeting them and arresting them and injuring them, shooting gas canisters at them, pushing them, doing so many things for them just because they want to practice the right of being in their land, of not being evacuated from their houses. You might have also heard about what's going on in the neighborhood of Sheikh Jarrah. Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood is a small neighborhood in occupied Jerusalem here in Palestine. And Sheikh Jarrah, there are a couple families living there, and since the beginning of occupation, and the beginning, since so many decades and like centuries ago, they've been living in these houses. They've been living in this neighborhood as Palestinians, and the Israeli occupation settlers came and wanted to kick them out of their houses and replace them with Israeli settlers to come from all around the world to just live in their houses and claim the ownership of these houses while these people have been living here for so many years. And the Israeli, you might have also heard about how the Israeli District Court of East Jerusalem kept to uphold the Israeli supremacy and have recently approved the decision to evacuate 6 Palestinian families from their houses this month in May. And in the same rule, they also said that they're going to be evacuating 7 more families in August, and that totals up to about 500 people are going to be evacuated this year from their houses. They're going to become homeless. They're going to imagine all these children, all these women who have lived in these houses, who hold so many memories, who hold so much history in these houses. They're going to be kicked out of their houses. They're going to be homeless. They're, just imagine yourself in their places. It's very hard. So this have not also only been happening this year. It started in 2009. In 2009 alone, 67 people from this neighborhood were actually kicked out of their houses and became homeless. One of the families actually built a tent in front of their house that in 2009 in front of their house, and stayed in this tent for a couple of weeks. Then unfortunately they weren't able to get back to their houses, and settlers right now live in their house. And after the decision of the court was issued of that they're going to be evacuating 6 families this month out of their houses in Sheikh Jarrah, a lot of Palestinian people, a lot of activists have been wanting to support them by going and helping them, standing with them, especially this month in Ramadan. A lot of people started going during Ftur time and eating with the families. And of course, the Israeli occupation also started coming. The Israeli occupation forces would come and try to kick them out of these support, of this neighborhood, just because they're trying to support the families. And Israeli settler organizations have been asking settlers from all over the West Bank to come and support these settlers by, staying with them and abusing Palestinians and hitting Palestinians, cursing at them. And even today, it has been happening for a couple of days right now. And today I was actually watching a couple of videos of Munal Kurd, which is a resident of one of the families who are going to be kicked out this month out of their houses. And she was saying that, they kept all the Palestinians who were coming to support the families and stand with them in solidarity outside of the Sheikh Jarrah. They didn't let them come in, and they let all the Israeli settlers who are coming to stand with the settlers that are trying to steal more houses and who actually are armed. There are like over 200 settlers who are standing in front of only a couple Palestinian families in the neighborhood who hold so many weapons, who got so many rocks to throw at these families. And it's very scary right now. And the Israeli occupation forces are not doing anything but literally supporting and protecting these settlers by spraying skunk water at the Palestinian people and the activists who are supporting Palestinians, by assaulting them, by pushing them. There were so many people who got arrested and injured in the past couple of days. So this is a literal example of how the Israeli occupation ethnically cleanses Palestinian villages and Palestinian neighborhoods and Palestinian cities. And this is just settler colonial violence. So you know, we can't exactly do anything about it, but to put an end to it, to put an end to all colonization, to put an end to occupation here in Palestine. And we can't do anything about it, but, you know, for you guys to stand with us, for you guys to support us. And I'm very happy that you guys are doing this and talking about Palestine, because it's extremely important to raise awareness, because not only has that been happening in Jerusalem, but it's been happening all over Palestine for so many years now. Even yesterday, there was a child, a 16-year-old child, who had been killed in Nablus, Saeed Ode, which you might have heard of. He is actually a soccer player in Nablus. He loved playing soccer. He used to always play with his friends. And during that time, the Israeli occupation actually was raiding so many villages and raiding so many cities, because they were looking for one person. They wanted to arrest him. And instead of just looking for that one person, they started shooting at everyone, targeting houses, targeting people, targeting children, arresting a lot of people, killing so many people. And this is what we call collective punishment, because you want that person, but you don't only go arrest that person, you also go kill other people. So that child was in Nablus when the Israeli occupation soldiers attacked and you know, raided his village, and he was shot with 2 live ammunitions in his back and was left to bleed for 15 minutes on the floor. The Israeli occupation forces were not allowing the ambulances to come in the village and try to rescue this child for 15 whole minutes, where his blood was just pouring out of his body. And unfortunately, he was murdered by the Israeli occupation. And you know, the Israeli forces routinely, unlawfully kills Palestinian children, and this is not the first time or the last time the Israeli occupation will kill Palestinian children. So that's why we should say their names. We should never forget them. And that's why we as Shamsaan have been doing so many things for the past couple of years to raise awareness. We started our initiative as a way to create a platform for Palestinian children and children around the world who are living in very difficult situations like us Palestinians, to create a platform for them to raise awareness, to send their messages to the world. And we've also done so many campaigns for these Palestinian children, including campaigns for Palestinian child prisoners. The child prisoner issue here in Palestine is very huge and have been even so much worse the past year and a half because of COVID. If you don't know, the Israeli occupation has a law where they say if you're a Palestinian child, you're over 12, they can arrest you, interrogate you, treat you like a criminal just because of your identity, just because of you trying to defend your house, your land, your rights. And they've been doing that. They've even broke this law and arrested people and children under the age of 12, which is extremely, it's against the law. And just imagine an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old child getting arrested, detained, beaten up in the Israeli cars and taken to interrogation where, you know, they get interrogated by this very violent interrogator where they might hit them, put them in solitary confinement, leave them for so many months, even years, without their families being able to visit them. And with COVID, it's been even worse because they cannot visit them, they cannot see them in their court hearings, they cannot do anything about it. And even in the jails themselves, there were so many COVID cases, and the Israeli occupation have not been taking care of that. They just leave the COVID cases with the prisoners. They have not allowed them to buy, you know, like alcohol, things to try and, you know, at least clean their cells to prevent getting infected with COVID. So yeah, that's have been happening with the Palestinian prisoners. That's why we've been doing a lot of campaigns for them, because people need to know about that, and people need to know about what's going on with us as Palestinian children here. We've also done other campaigns, like, for example, our education fund, which you guys can also contribute to. We've actually created it in 2019, where we thought of a way to help Palestinian children continue their education, because the occupation affects our life either directly or indirectly from every single aspect you can think of, including education. For example, when I want to go to my school, I sometimes won't be able to go to my school because of the checkpoints, and a lot of people won't be able to continue their education because of this occupation. So we are trying to help them as much as possible financially to continue their education and serve their country, as a way to help as much as possible for these children to reach a point where they can serve their country and send their voices to the world with their education. And I'll also leave that to Nadia and Aisha to talk more about it, because I think you guys should know more about it. It's very interesting and important. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, actually, Sister Janna. Very much interesting, and hats off to you, actually, at your tender age, at your young age of an adolescent. Many people are enjoying life in many other ways. While you are on the field, you are engaged, you are struggling with your brothers and sisters for their welfare there. So now we will proceed with Sisters Nadia and Sisters Aisha. They'll be intervening collectively, and as well will shed light on many things maybe which we need to know, which we have to know if we are to be concerned with the Palestinian issue. Sisters Aisha and Nadia, over to you, the floor, please.
Assalamu alaikum. I will be very brief. As someone who is South African, that has felt it was responsible for us to support the struggles of Palestine, it was important to look at ways in which we could establish platforms for Palestinian voices. And so I think we've heard quite well from Janna as the ambassador about some of the work that we're doing. Janna is based, as she said, in the West Bank, but we have projects in Jerusalem, and we also have programs in Gaza. So you can go up onto our website and get more information about the various things that we are involved with. But what we'd like to focus on now, and what Aisha will speak about, is our education fund that supports university students. So we do support students across Palestine, but she's going to focus a little bit more about Gaza and the students that we support there, and the reason why we feel it is that critical to support youth. Aisha.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen that he gave me this opportunity to speak by and be the voice of thousands of people in and students in Gaza Strip. And thanks going also to Nadia and Shamsaan. They gave me the chance to be a part of their organization and to speak and they give me the chance to speak in here now in Al-Quds Day. If we want to speak about Gaza, it's every one of you heard Gaza maybe hundreds of times in news, and it's now a different conflict between the situation is completely different events what's happening in Jerusalem or in West Bank as the Israel left Gaza around 17 years ago. If you want to describe Gaza as the word which exactly describe it is like a big prison, and with siege from every side. So it's not easy at all if you want to enter Gaza or you want to live. And I have experience in that before 3 years. I just went to Gaza for a visit for 1 or 2 months, and then I stuck for more than 3 years. Then why we have to stand with people in Gaza there, or support them and support the education projects there, because the conflict now it changed to economical conflicts. As usually, if you imagine the sub-prison and no one can leave or enter, then then people there stuck. The people economical situation become very serious and difficult. As all of you know about the last 3 wars that's happened in only 10 years in Gaza, where the Israeli Jewish destroy all the infrastructure of the Gaza Strip and all small projects, all factories. And now people have unemployed people even can't leave Gaza to work in other places. So, and what else makes it difficult now? The horrible increasement of the employment percentage, and as you know, workers can't leave Gaza to work outside. And what increased the situation also is the pandemic COVID now, and the circumstances and obstacles that they face in hospitals and in schools everywhere. And what I can say that Shamsaan opened a few windows in this siege that's covered Gaza from everywhere, and they helped tens of students there to complete their universal education and even to graduate. Some students have graduated and received their and they now employed, and they always send many thanks to Shamsaan for their help. I hope, and we hope, or we all hope in Gaza, that this number of windows increased and or even become doors, or this siege will one day be destroyed and all hands can go. You can visit Gaza, and all of us, maybe we can hold this meeting next time in Jerusalem or in Gaza Strip after the pandemic finish, inshallah. I want to mention also about the student projects. That's the education now in Gaza it's the main thing that we hold. And as I told you, that Israel destroyed all the small projects, all small factories there. So it's the only hope that people have, that the people have there, is to complete their education, to be ready, and to know what's happening in all over the world through their education. It's very important for them, and they really appreciate and thanks your help all the time. I think something happened. Yeah, this is the bank's details where you can support Gaza students, and we all appreciate your help all the time. Thanks for everything, and كل عام وأنتم بخير بمناسبة عيد الفطر. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Sister Aisha. And actually, the technical team, I think, has displayed on the screen about the projects that different resource persons have been talking about, and as well how we can help them. Thank you, actually, sisters and brothers, for your
Thank you.
intervention. Very interesting, very enlightening, very informative. And right now, I think we can take up some questions. I know we're already over time. Sorry to the audience, but inshallah, we will try to not to hold you long further. The question I've been having, so some brothers have explained their experiences when they have been in jail, in prison. So this is a question that an audience member wants to know, to share their experience inside the jails in Israel. How did it go? How was it about this experience in jail? I think brother Yasser.
Let me tell you something. I don't know. The experience is so complicated. But I think one of the issues about the prison, I think it's much more about an academy, because the experience of the political prisoners in Palestine, it's have been through a history that it had been started in 1976. There was a hunger strike that it had been done at Ascalon, and after this hunger strike, there were a lot of demands that it had been accepted by the authority or the prisoner, the authority of the prisoners. And one of these elements, it was bringing books and bringing books from outside, from the family visits, in order to be much more linked and educated inside the prison, and to get benefit from the years that you spend in the prison. Personally, I have been in a strike in 1992. I have made a strike for 17 days, and during this strike, we succeeded in order to get much more rights that we can consider it much more. One of these rights is to be registered at the university and to continue your higher education, to make your back, and to be registered also at the university in order to continue the masters and the masters. As a daily, I will give you an example of a daily life in prison. Crossing all the periods, the first period, which is the investigation period, and during the investigation, you will be tortured physically and psychologically. So it depends about what type of accusation that they are doing against you. So after that, you will be sent to a detention center, and in this detention center, will you start to rejoin your group and try to follow up all the daily schedule that have been implemented inside your room. So as an example, as an usual day in prison, you will wake up at 6 o'clock. You will get a time to go to sport for nearly 1 hour, and after that you have to come back and you take your breakfast. And there is the first seminar, and then you go out for another time, and when you come back, you get a rest. And it's a time for there is an hour for reading, and after that there is another break that you go out from your room, and after for 1 hour, and after that you come back, and they will start another seminar, which is much more similar about ideological seminar, or what we consider educational seminar, or in order to deal with the daily life issues inside your room. And in the night there are other paperwork to do, because each one of the prisoners, he is obliged in order to write an essay in order to participate on what we call it the magazine, the prison journal, and to participate in that, and he have to read in order to write these issues, and it depends on the topics that you choose in order to do it like this. So the daily life in prison, it's much more that you are much more independent, and the role of the guardian is just to open and to lock the cell, but he don't interfere in your daily life, because the Palestinians, they have a structure and an organization inside that they take responsibility of all the things. So for each room there is a member of the room, elected member from the room, that he is responsible of the room. So he will organize all your needs, what we will buy from the canteen, how we reserve the issues, and how and what kind of issues that we will ask from our families or something like this. And there is in each room there is this what we call it shawish, in the sense that he is the responsible. And after the shawish there is a structure, there is an committee from all the organization that it organize all the life of all the prisoners, or from different organizations such as Fatah, PFLP, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and others. And this committee, they are a delegation that they all the time they negotiate with the administration of the prison, the Israeli administration of the prison, and they are the representative of us. And for each prison, there is a representative for us that he talk on behalf of us for our demands, our daily demands, organizing the visit, all the thing, the visit between different sections, the visit between different rooms, and other stuff. So inside the prison, it's much more organized than, and it's we call it as an academy, because most of the prisoners that they pass this experience, they will take with them after this experience a lot of knowledge, a lot of education. I'm talking about academic education also as revolutionary education.
Okay, thank you, brother. So another question: what is the current situation in Palestine amidst the pandemic? Someone living in Palestine maybe can answer it, other than brother Yasser. He's already answered one.
No, I'm in France. I'm in Paris. I'm not in Palestine. Sorry.
Maybe the sisters. Are we having some technical problem here?
Yes, I can answer about how it is in Palestine now after COVID pandemic. As you know, in Gaza and in West Bank now, the number of COVID are increasing, and it's spread. I think there is a problem in the video. Has asked you to start your video. Assalamu alaikum. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can proceed.
Yeah, I want to describe how it is in Palestine now after the COVID pandemic, as it's now they have a second spread or circle of COVID. And number now increases rapidly, and the number of people who needs hospitalization are increasing, while the hospital is not occupied or don't have enough space and beds for people who need help, especially the oxygen ventilation and these things. So they now are suffering, and they really need medical help and support, so they can withstand and they can survive people. Also, an important thing, that's the vaccines that the Palestinians received in West Bank or in Gaza are very limited. That's they are only vaccinated very sick and old people, while the young or mid-age people not start vaccinated yet. And that's all. A number of deaths now, the percentage of natal death increasing rapidly, and they expected that the new strains, that's the Indian one, may be spread there, while they don't know, as they now Gaza Strip maybe and West Bank open are opening for people from outside, and they expecting that the Indian COVID strain has spreading there, and that's why the number of deaths are increasing rapidly.
Okay, Sister Aisha, we got the point. Okay, we are taking the last question of this session, and maybe Sister Aisha will be placed yourself to answer it. It is about the impact of the occupation on family well-being in terms of relationship between husband and wife, parents to children, and similar.
I see. How the occupation affects our family
well-being in terms of the relationships between husband and wife, father, mother to children. So how it impacts on the family?
Actually, it's strengthen us and make us become more stronger. And we have, for us, if you look for most Palestinians are refugees, they leave their original lands, and they all have these very valuable and special things that we take it from grandfathers to fathers to parents to then the children, and we keep it, and we always speak about it and speak about the day that we will return back. So what you expect from the occupation to destroy the family, or to weaken the relationship between a husband and the wife and the children. What's happening is the opposite, as they strengthen their relationship, and everyone feeling that he has his duty to be more responsible and to do his job for his country. That's one day we will return back to our land, return back to our village. So we must prepare ourselves to this day, and we must be one hand against the Israeli occupation. And we always teaching our children and learning them about all the story from the beginning, from 1948, about what's happening that time. And always, as you see, as me, as a family, always we hold after Maghrib, and we see the news about what's happening now in Sheikh Jarrah, and this story again happening like what's happening in 1948. That time they were saying that Palestinians sold their land, sold their houses, but what's happening is exactly is happening again. What's happened is exactly what is happening now, and now under the cameras and videos, everyone can see how Israeli just force people leave their houses, and they just take it easily like that. So what the occupation help us usually to hold and to become more strong, and to believe in that one day we will return back to our land, and one day Palestine will be free. One day we will pray all together in Jerusalem, and that's all.
Okay, Jazakallah, Sister Aisha. We're all with you in this prayer. We are reaching the end of today's program. I thank everybody, the resource persons, the technical team, and as well as all the audience who are here, who bear with us. And I'm sure that you've had your expectation met the program was up to the standard you expected. Just before closing, I would like to convey a message we just received from Sister Janna that there have been clashes at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and there have been injuries mostly at head and eyes level, and the injured were taken to the Jerusalem hospitals. We pray that Allah gives them remedy, cure them, inshallah. Okay, thank you, everybody. We are now reaching the close of today's program. And as you've seen, we've been over time for some around 15 minutes, but the program as well was very much interesting. So I close with dua. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Salam.